YUNKJunk!
Hello, everybody. This is Tubby Talk, presented by YUNKJunk. I'm Steve, and he's Chris.
I'm Chris.
We're here to talk to you today, sans Terry, about whatever we want, because Terry's not here.
Yeah, the inmates are running the asylum. There's no Terrys around. I already referred to this as the Terry hole, and I'm going to stick to it. It's a gaping hole in our lives. But yeah, Steve and I were talking about, we want to do something different. It's just the two of us. And our life right now, our livelihood is ice cream. Like, hey, let's talk about some ice cream. What do you think about that?
Ice cream's delicious. It's nutritious.
Well, half of that's true.
I mean, it can be, see, there's a nice topic already.
Yeah.
A food can be nutritious, as in adding nutrition to your life, but still be detrimental to your overall food eating habits.
Yeah.
By having too much of a sugar or a fat or something else that might not be the best for your body, but your body needs some of all of it, A, and B, they don't always offset each other. Like you have vitamins and things that also have a lot of sugar.
Yeah, I was wondering about this.
Through like the metabolism, of the food. It doesn't necessarily like flush out all of the vitamin A because you ate some sugar with it.
Yeah, I was wondering about this because like I don't drink milk. I never drank milk growing up. And so people were like, well, you're going to have bad bones because you got no calcium. It's going to die. But then I was like, well, I eat a lot of ice cream. And I'm like,
you have the strongest, you have strong bones.
I don't know, maybe.
Have you broken any bones just by like walking around? I don't think so.
Not just by walking around. So yeah, no osteoporosis yet. We'll see how it goes. I just keep eating my ice cream, not drinking my milk. The Milk Council, frown on them.
Now, if you get an X-ray, you're going to see lots of little like mint chocolate chips in there.
Just imagine an X-ray dotted with chocolate chips all throughout. Oh, geez.
Oh my, Mr. McGuire, you have some sort of bone cancer. And it's like, no, I eat a lot of ice cream. That tracks. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm assuming, we'll do this like we haven't met each other. So you like ice cream, Steve?
I do. I enjoy ice cream. I've enjoyed ice cream since an early age.
Yeah.
I can't speak for, the times before I had, language or permanent memories, but I know as, a toddler, I loved ice cream. It was my favorite treat.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I can't remember a time I didn't love it. But some of my earliest memories, so I'm going to a specific place. Back my yeah, grew up in North Philly. Feltonville was the specific neighborhood, and there was this place. I can't find record of it on the internet. I looked, I could not find any photos, no one mentioning it. It was this place called King Richard's. It was some weird offshoot place I remember it was in an island. And it was, one of them places in North Philly. It's an island, and like people just
probably like Rising Sun and something else are crossing, and it's in the middle.
Exactly, and it was a whole bunch of picnic tables, and you went out, you got the ice cream at the counter. You went up, sat at the picnic table with your family, and it was mostly soft serve. But my favorite thing there was they would make homemade Belgian waffle sundaes. So it would come out hot and soft. And they put that soft serve on that, and of course, that's where I got my love of both Belgian waffles and M&Ms.
M&Ms on the waffle sundae.
I got them to put that. I mean,
that sounds really good.
And I'd be like, "This is," so my whole family would get one, and we'd just split it 4 ways. And it was so warm and so good, and that's why we do Belgian waffle sundaes at Tubby. Like that memory right there.
And you can't find that place on any maps or any references to it.
I can find no record of it having existed.
Wow.
And except in my head. And I got to talk to my parents to make sure I didn't hallucinate it.
I mean, you probably didn't hallucinate it. That just goes to Philly in general.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't a registered business. It was registered under a different name altogether. So it was like a carpet wholesaler.
You're right. Like,
so you don't even.
I bet if I had searched like L&I records, like even if they scanned them back then, it's not there. No, it doesn't exist anymore. Obviously, I'd be probably making pilgrimages a whole lot. Are there any specific places you remember from childhood?
So that reminded me of a place I would go to. It was around the corner from my house. On topic of the podcast, it was where the street next to the store where the Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat machines always were. We always had the latest of each. It was a Chinese food store, and it was a North Philly corner store. For all intents and purposes.
Yeah, instant memory. Yeah, image provided. Yeah,
and in the 80s and 90s natch. And I would go there and get a Hershey's ice cream on a cake cone. They always wrapped it in wax paper. which I hated.
Wait, the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole cone head would be wrapped in wax paper, and that's how they served it to you. They put it in a bag.
It touched the ice cream itself?
Yeah, wrapped in wax paper. You got to peel the wax paper off, and all the ice cream comes off with it, so it was always annoying. But just peeling that off, licking the wax paper to get the chocolate ice cream off was always heaven. It was a 50-cent cone, and it was worth it.
Oh, worth every penny.
It's worth not playing 2 games of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
To eat an ice cream cone.
Oh, so that was 25 cents for Street Fighter there.
Yeah.
That was cheap. Like, I most of my memories of Street Fighter was always 50 cents and up.
Well, they subsidized it with drug sales. That's a whole other topic.
Philadelphia.
But yeah, the ice cream place was, as far as I know, was on the up and up. The Chinese food place. But yeah, the ice cream, it was always a bit icy. Yeah. I didn't care because it was ice cream.
So it was like pre-scooped and they just
it was hand scooped and then they wrap it in a bunch of wax paper.
Yeah. They're just they were very concerned about health codes, I guess. They're just like, no.
They're just like, you're gonna carry this ice cream outside? It needs to be protected by as much plastic as possible.
I can't imagine if we were scooping ice cream.
I've thought about it before, and people are like, "Oh, I want ice cream cone to go," and I'm like, "Well, you take the cone and leave, but if you want me to cover it."
Steve takes out this roll. He's like, "All right, I'll make it to go. All right."
But yeah, so that's one of my earliest memories of getting my own ice cream.
Yeah.
My family would always get ice cream because my dad's side of the family, we would have block parties on the 4th of July on my grandmother's block in North Philly, and we would have every summer and spring and fall birthday at once. 4th of July, there'd be like 4 or 5 cakes, and everybody would get their own type of ice cream.
Sounds like an
4
awesome
or 5
day.
cakes, and everybody's just eating cake and ice cream. And
so are we talking, is this like a hot dog hamburger sort of thing?
Yeah, hot dog hamburger, like barbecue, and then we'd have the cakes and the ice cream, and then we'd play Risk, me and my cousins and my uncles. We'd play Risk, and I would lose because I was always Australia and always just stuck in the corner.
I'd never be Australia.
Yeah, I was never very good at it. But yeah, I was too full of ice cream too.
Yeah.
They would get the big bucket of ice cream from the supermarket. Like you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. It used to sell it in like the gallons.
Yeah, they probably still sell it. It's a gallon of ice cream. It's a translucent white plastic bucket.
The cheapest possible.
It'll be Neapolitan, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a huge gallon bucket with a handle of very cheap ice cream. It was like $5.
Yeah.
When a half gallon was $5 back then. You get a gallon for $5.
So I'm wondering, you had multiple cakes in your family. You were celebrating lots of birthdays. Did you sing happy birthday several times?
We sang it once.
Once for everyone. Interesting.
My grandmother was not having a bunch of happy birthdays all year. That's why she's like, we knew it one day. My grandfather didn't care. He used to be playing pinochle and not teaching anybody how to play it.
Yeah. But he'd play it against people and be like, I win, I guess.
He wouldn't teach me or anybody younger than, at the time, 18, how to play.
Pinocchle's such an old person card.
Yeah, he's like, no young people allowed. So I started eating my ice cream, trying to pick it up, and I couldn't because it's inscrutable.
It's basically impossible. Old people just...
It's made up.
Yeah, they just have it there to gatekeep, everything.
I'm sure it's a real game, but...
Are you?
Off topic. Pinochle was played with like 3 or 4 decks of cards where you take all the low numbers out and mix, so it's all like 10s and up, and they mix them together.
It's not a standard deck?
No. I think it's 2 decks of 10s and up, or like 8 and up, and they mix them together and you play like that.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I don't understand even how it starts.
Yeah.
So yeah. So my memories are eating ice cream and cake on a big old paper plate and just trying to peer over the table and see what my grandfather was doing. He would like shove me away, like, get away, you're gonna give away my hand.
Well, and that's the nice thing about ice cream. Even the cheap stuff is still a joy.
Especially a treat on a hot summer's day, 4th of July in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
It was great.
I know both of us, we're always tortured by Mr. Softy outside our school. So Steve and I went to middle school and high school together. Downtown, Mr. Softy truck would come out, I would say around 2 p.m., maybe a little earlier.
A good hour before school. Yeah.
And he'd sit there and he'd just blast the tune. And so if you had a class next to that, you just heard it. Especially in the summer, they had the windows open. It was just you had to try to concentrate on history. He's
just like, I can't wait to get outside. Got to get in front of the line. Because kids would just swarm it.
Yeah.
Because that Mr. Softy franchisee, he knew what he was doing.
It was evil.
He or she knew what they were doing, yeah.
They were very evil. And I think for us, it was $1.25 with Jimmy's, I think is what it was.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So I always gave that extra quarter. I had quarters in line, just for that in the arcade. Quarters were very valuable.
But you're like, I need my Jimmy's.
Yeah. You want the Jimmy's for texture.
Yeah, because Mr. Softy, if you don't know, is soft serve.
Mm-hmm.
I would always get chocolate with chocolate jimmies.
I would get twist with chocolate jimmies. Yeah, which probably tasted about the same.
Slightly watered down chocolate.
Yeah, slightly watered down chocolate. But yeah, and that's something we hear at the shop all the time. One of the biggest questions people get is like, oh, is it Jimmy's or is it Sprinkles? And like, of course, people come in. We love talking to everyone. We love having the same conversation multiple times. But this is one where we hear it almost every day.
The issue is we hear the same hot take every day.
Yeah, the hot takes.
Because like I always have naturally called them chocolate jimmies and rainbow sprinkles.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've come to realize running the shop is, I say rainbow sprinkles, chocolate jimmies.
Yeah, we've kind of codified that like internally too, like just naturally through osmosis.
Yeah, like nobody looks at me fun. None of the employees look at me weird anymore when I say it. So I feel like and like the customers too. And then you have one customer that'll come in and they'll say, you know what? It says sprinkles on the jar, so it's sprinkles.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know what? It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's fun. Like conversations with the customers, like one of the most interesting part of the jobs, and can be frustrating, but also rewarding. And you learn some stuff. So one of the things I learned was that in apparently parts of Connecticut, they don't call them jimmies. They don't call them sprinkles. They call them shots. Like SHOTS. Shots. So the lady was saying it to me. She was slurring with this accent. She's like, put some shots on that. Some shots on that. And she was with a friend who was local, and she was like, what? And I was like, what are you asking for?
Yeah.
She's like, shots, and she's pointing.
I'm like, are you saying shards? And she's like, no, shots. And I'm like, we don't serve alcohol here, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I thought she was looking for like tequila. No, she wanted sprinkled jimmies. And I was like, oh. And her friend was like, who calls it that? She's like, oh, we call it that in Connecticut. That is my impersonation of a Connecticut accent. I have no idea what they sound like.
I mean, that lady sounded like that, so I mean, that was accurate.
Shots. I didn't know if it was an O or an A. I didn't know what was happening. We figured it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people call them shots. I'm gonna get into it too. Like, we had another person come, and they referred to them as colored sprinkles.
But it happens every now and then. And people say colored sprinkles, but this person said colored sprinkles.
And like our eyebrows went up.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I was at the register too when she said it, and I was like, oh, you mean rainbow sprinkles? She's like, yeah, colored sprinkles.
And we were just like,
and I'm like, okay, rainbow, making sure, gotcha.
Yeah, just doubling down on that. Yeah, just we were like, is it extra racism points if the chocolate ones are colored?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
You're just
I was like,
rainbow,
let me
right?
make sure this is what she means.
Yeah, so lots of conversations come from these stupid little things.
It reminds me of another one. One of our friends came in to the shop when I was there, and I asked if he wanted Jimmy's on his ice cream. And he like leans over to me and he's like, hey, Steve, I don't think you want to call them Jimmy's because that's racist. And I'm like, I've never heard of that before. It was specifically chocolate Jimmy's.
Yeah, he's from the South.
He's from New Orleans. Or Louisiana. So I was like, maybe it's a Louisiana thing. And I looked it up and it was not.
Yeah, he just made it up.
There was a TV writer like 10 years ago that made a tweet saying that, musing that Jimmy's sounds like a racial slur for sprinkles.
Okay. Well.
And then through osmosis, it made it to this friend who thought he was like, that was a fact he was espousing to the world, is that it was a racial...
Well, actually...
But it was just funny because I finally found it and I was like, I could see how you could think this was... He was giving facts, but I was also like, it's Twitter.
Yeah. It's
when has anybody ever had a fact on Twitter?
Not a primary source. No. So I'm going to go on saying Jimmy's, and like, even if it was like, hey, some part of the nation is using this, I'll be like, well, we're taking it back. We're taking back Jimmy's.
We're in Philly.
Yeah, we're in Philly. It's Philly, South Jersey, lots of Jersey, same
Brooklyn,
thing.
Apparently. One person said Brooklyn specifically calls them Jimmy's.
Yeah. So,
you know,
look, the cultured place.
Also known as North Philadelphia. From now on.
Yeah, I like that.
So, does your family like ice cream? Like your extended family? I know you spend a lot of time with your family, all sorts of aunts, uncles, grandparents, nieces, nephews.
Yeah. No, they pretty much all of them are definitely into it. I definitely got a lot of it from my my grandparents, my maternal grandparents. Like my grandfather would always have a big thing at Turkey Hill. Like he'd get like the half gallons. He'd get the gallons,
Yeah.
You remember when they used to have Turkey Hill? They had a generic wrapping. It was like a brown lid.
Oh,
And there was like a little window on top to see the ice cream through it. Yeah, he would get those.
Oh, nice.
Because he bought everything in like bulk, and he would drive 80 miles to get something that was 50 cents cheaper. He was that sort of guy.
Yeah.
Everyone's a grandfather. But yeah, so that stuff I remember always having on hand, and so like to me it was a nightcap. Every night, get a little bowl of ice cream. They'd have like the Hershey's chocolate syrup, which I swear like it used to taste better. I don't know if
they changed. It's like 2005 or so they changed it.
They did change
That's when I first noticed it. And then I went and looked into the bottle. Yeah, they changed
it. It kind of feels so I love that it's local. Love Hershey, Pennsylvania. Love going there. But like to me right now, the syrup kind of tastes like nothing. Like you put it on and I can't even I don't even feel it.
Like the thing I noticed is I definitely when I used to buy it was the main ingredient was like sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like melted sugar with the cocoa in it.
Yeah.
Chocolate in it. And then I think they started doing, I think chocolate might have been the first ingredient, but no, cocoa powder maybe even.
Well, it's really dark too. It's like black.
Yeah. So it's like darker than it was before. And they don't use like pure sugar. It's either sugar syrup or corn syrup.
Yeah.
That they started using. So it got thinner and less flavorful, which is weird because it got darker in color and like shinier.
And I only saw this ever at my grandparents. We always served it out of a can.
I used to love. That's all I bought was the cans. You punch a little hole in it with the can opener,
and then you pour it out the little hole you made. Yeah. So I'm glad other people had that.
I used to drink it out of those sometimes.
Oh yeah.
When I didn't have any ice cream and I was really desperate for a sugar hit, I was like
next level,
sipping it out.
Yeah, just drinking straight up chocolate syrup is beautiful.
Or I pour a little bit into a cup, a little condensed milk into a cup, stir it up, have condensed hot chocolate. Or cold chocolate, condensed chocolate milk.
No, I remember. Really good. Yeah. I remember that there would be the plastic bottles with the squeeze top, but that was to us was like that's the expensive kind. You got to get the can because the can was a little cheaper.
You bought the can the same place you bought the Vienna sausages.
Yeah,
and the potted meat.
Yep.
It was an old man section.
The old man right next to the like dried jalapenos and things.
Dried jalapenos, hog maws.
Hog maws.
My grandfather would send me to the store all the time for hog maws. And I had to figure out that was a pig jaw they just had in the butcher section.
And people chew on them, I guess.
You put it in meat and you flavor it with.
You put it in meat
with pig teeth. I don't know
from whence you came.
Like you put in a pot of stew or cabbage or beans or anything you boil.
Yeah.
You stick it in there and it adds pork flavor it was like 10 cents back in like the late 90s.
Oh, yeah, it's a good price.
10 cents for meat. It's again, he grew up in the Depression, so that's what he was used to.
I mean, 10 cents even then was nuts cheap. Like, but all right, so thinking of like family times, I wonder if you have any experiences. I know I had a lot with Friendlies. Did you ever go to Friendlies at all?
The only times I've ever gone to Friendlies were with you, actually, and other friends in high school. We go to the Friendlies in Andorra, which was Chris's neighborhood Friendlies, I guess.
Yeah.
And we would go and, have some food, and the food was a pretense.
Yeah.
To eat a Sunday. But what I did do is I would often go, not often, I went to Ben and Jerry's nominally on my, I went to Ben and Jerry's for my 8th grade graduation.
Yeah.
Graduation, because we went back to the same high school the next year.
Yeah.
But my dad took me to Ben and Jerry's and got me the Vermonster.
Oh, you got I didn't remember this.
That's the only time I had the Vermonster.
Yeah.
Which was a bucket, a plastic pail with Ben and Jerry's logo on it, and they put, it must have been like 10 scoops of ice cream.
Yeah, they've just put everything
in. And then
that.
all the toppings, you got the caramel sauce, the chocolate sauce, you got cherries, you got sprinkles.
Did you enjoy that?
I loved it. I got vehemently sick afterwards. I got mine with caramel because I was like, if I eat this with chocolate, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I got caramel sauce, and it was like a cup of caramel, a measuring cup of caramel stuck at the bottom after I finished ice cream. And I was in a food coma the rest of the day. So that was fun.
You got to do. I mean, you're testing your limits. Yeah. You're becoming an adult.
Yeah. I'm like
eating a Vermonster.
I made it through 8th grade. I'm going to eat this ice cream bigger than my head.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's huge. I wonder if they still do it. Like some of them must.
I feel like they don't do it for legal reasons. Like they're afraid to get sued or something.
The name's great. Vermonster. Like it tells you everything you need to know.
I mean, we could always bring that back. I've thought about it before.
Yeah. The thing is, like, it feels like Gonzo ice cream at our place doesn't sell a ton.
Yeah, we don't love Gonzo, but we could make it work as a special.
Yeah. Or I mean, maybe we also haven't gone hard because to me, like, Our gonzo right now is we do the Belgian waffle sundae, 4-scooper, probably the biggest thing on the menu.
I've done the aircraft carrier once, which is 2 Belgian waffle sundaes, 4 scoops of ice cream for this one customer who used to be a regular. I don't know. I haven't worked as many nights recently, so I don't know if he's been by. But
yeah, the aircraft.
I'm pretty sure I told him this. I said he looks like JFK.
Yeah.
And he appreciated that. So now I called it the aircraft carrier in his honor because he ordered 2 Belgian waffle sundaes and wanted them both in the same container.
Yeah, so like a clamshell with a Belgian waffle and both clamshell openings.
And a full sundae on each.
Full sundae on each.
And he was on a first date when he came in, and his date was mortified. A, that he ordered all this ice cream, and B, that I had a name for it.
Yes.
I was like, oh, you want the aircraft carrier? He was like, that sounds great. And she was like, what? And he ate the whole thing. And I'm sure they're married to this day, right?
Yeah, I mean, how do you say no to a man who eats like that? I can't.
And has that chiseled jawline of John F. Kennedy.
He's like, I'll have that there. I can't. It's a terrible JFK. So
I would like the aircraft carrier.
There you go. Thank you. So yeah, the fact that he like the name, like she must have been like, oh, you've done this before.
It was not in an admiring way though. I could the look I saw was
like,
the face of horror. Like,
oh my god,
who is this
before?
Who is this person?
Yeah, it must be. They must have 5 kids by now.
I mean, you eating all that ice cream, you would have to.
Virility through the roof.
I wasn't going to say it, so I'm glad you said it.
Yeah. So yeah, anyone who comes to Tubby Robot, they should know that
claims has not been verified by the FDA.
Technically speaking, on our menu system, on our POS, you can add pretty much anything to anything. People don't often do it, but in theory, you could get a Belgian waffle and say, put a brownie on that. We'll do it.
I mean, I will not let you get peanut butter sauce and mint chocolate chip. That is where I draw the line.
I'm sure it's happened in the shop, though.
No one's asked me personally.
Yeah.
I would not allow that as a topping. The 2 flavors side by side, have at it. You want me to add peanut butter on top of it? No.
See, that's an interesting discussion there because we get some weird combos. And I think that's one of them. It's common, too. A lot of people will be like, I want mint and I want peanut butter fudge swirl. Give me a scoop of both in a cup. And I'm just like, all right, man, you're the boss. But really? Yeah. You'll see like peanut butter added to weird stuff. I don't think peanut butter is huge. I don't think either of us are big peanut butter guys.
Not in ice cream.
Yeah.
I love a good peanut butter sandwich.
But we do sell a lot of ice cream peanut butter confections. Like, I would say that's a genre at Tubby Robot right now.
We have a GW Carver sundae.
Yes. Yeah.
With peanut. I don't want to make this an ad.
Yeah.
But
it's good.
The GW Carver hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, peanut butter cookie by My Sweet Gluttony. These our baker friends who use our kitchen to make delicious confections that they sell up and down Main Street.
Yeah.
And yeah, peanut butter sauce, peanut butter and fudge ice cream.
Yeah, it's a lot of peanut
Reese's Pieces.
Oh yeah, it's overload. But that's what people want because we discovered we were making peanut butter fudge swirl ice cream as we were prototyping, and I kept on like bringing it to my wife, and she'd be like, "Oh, that's good. Could use more peanut butter." Like, all right, I add more peanut butter. She's like, "That's good. Could use more peanut butter." And I discovered there was never a point that was enough. They always want more peanut butter. I could hand them a plate of peanut butter and they'd be like, a little more peanut butter, man. So like, you just have to call it at some point, right?
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
When you're going through 2 solid containers of peanut butter,
yeah,
it's probably a good place to call it.
Yeah, we go through roughly like one of the big ones for every batch right now. And I'm like, that's enough, guys. You're good. If you do want more, put
we have more to add on top now. Yeah.
Yeah. Put that on top. Put the Reese's on top. There's a lot of peanut. Put peanuts as well.
I thought that was going to be a bit overkill. Just because of the crunchiness of the Reese's Pieces.
I would think more people would get peanut butter sauce with peanuts on it because I've never seen it.
Why not?
Yeah, they go together. They're from each other.
Well, not from each other.
Oh,
I guess you could make peanuts out of peanut butter if you really tried.
Crunch it down.
You fertilize the peanut plants with peanut butter.
Yeah. Now Steve's thinking.
It'd be easy to make a peanut squared.
Yeah, so peanut butter can't go wrong. Basically, we put peanut butter on anything and it'll sell. It's the secret.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, I will sell the peanut butter on top of mint chocolate chip.
Okay.
But I will give them lots of grief.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe make them add the peanut butter themselves. Like, here's some peanut butter sauce. Here's the ice cream. You do it.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of that stuff, like, so
That hasn't actually happened yet. So
Tubby Robot, like, of course, we think the ice cream's very important to be delicious, but really our big thing is sundaes and what you put on the ice cream, what you put the ice cream on. That's very
how
important.
the ice cream gets in your mouth.
How the ice cream gets in your mouth. Very important. And a lot of the toppings we have are great, and some fit with some things, and some fit with other things, and some fit with nothing, I would argue. Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Where am I going with this?
We'll say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wet
Gummy
walnuts.
bears. Oh no. You did it on purpose.
I did it on purpose. Yeah.
Yes. We knew it was gummy bears.
It's gummy bears.
Gummy bears are not a good ice cream topping. I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna be highly controversial. Anyone who comes to the shop, it's one of our top toppings.
Anybody 17 and under will definitely argue with us. But we have a few adults that come in and also buy ice cream with gummy bears on it.
A disturbing number of adults who do that.
Who can afford to buy gummy bears separately? I get it. Kids want it because they don't go to the gummy bear store that often.
Well, kids are dumb. And I say this as I have 2 kids of my own, and they both always
we were both
want
kids once.
Yes. I probably have requested gummy bears on ice cream in the past. But my kids will do it. Every time they come to Tubby, they're like, oh, I want gummy bears on it. I'm like, guys, just like, they're like, oh, I like it.
Well, that's because you don't buy gummy bears at home.
I don't usually have them at home. That's true. So maybe they don't know the joy of a gummy bear that's not hard as a rock because it's on ice cream. It hardens up. You know, some people, I guess, are into this, right?
Some people are masochists.
Yeah.
It's like the people that put Swedish fish in the freezer.
Do they do that?
I had friends that did that. I'm not friends with them anymore.
Do they get truly hard?
Yeah, they're already hard. They're already chewy hard as it is. And you put it in the freezer, it doesn't get icy. It just gets hard.
Okay, like how hard are we talking? Does it have any give?
Well, when I've tried to eat it, it doesn't shatter.
Okay,
so it's hard in a way that you try to bite it and your teeth just hurt.
Yeah,
until you like melt it with your mouth. But with all that, I'll just eat something else. But they enjoyed this vicious cycle of trying to crunch and then suck on this hard Swedish fish.
It sounds like hard drugs.
It already kills your teeth.
And
then it's going to kill your teeth more when you shatter them first, and then you pull all the pieces. Yeah.
So they like that texture.
Yeah.
I mean, to each their own. This is what we're learning. Like everyone.
Not to slander her too much, but I think Veronica was one of the people that did this.
Well,
I might be mistaken, so sorry if it was you. I'll fact check after the episode.
Yeah. Well, I imagine dentists would hate that. Because it's the worst of both worlds. It's hard and gummy.
Dentists hate this one cool trick.
This one cool trick. That'll be the thumbnail here. Yeah.
There you go, Dylan.
Yeah, but gummy bears, I would not want them in my ice cream. And, you know, the reason that they don't get hard, though, which we've learned about the chemistry of these things is that basically they have a stabilizer. And in their case, it's gelatin, straight up gelatin. Stabilizer prevents liquids from solidifying entirely. And all ice cream and frozen goods, there's some level of stabilizer. For some of our flavors, we use xanthan gum, which is a common one you can find at the supermarket. But yeah, we don't have straight up gelatin in it. Like, yeah, that'd be weird. My kids have been into Jell-O lately, like making that at home.
Making Jell-O?
Yeah.
Making Jell-O was very fun when I was a kid, except I was always impatient and I would like keep eating spoonfuls of the unhardened Jell-O. Like to test it. I'm like, it's been 2 hours. Is it done yet? No.
Yeah, you got to test it. And then you're like, it's not, but so red, cherry?
Lime.
You like the lime.
I like cherry.
Yeah.
But lime, if a lime was available, I went with lime.
That's cool. See, I always liked the classic cherry. I never really ate the other ones, but I was also picky. I should have branched out.
I always thought lime Jell-O was very good.
Yeah.
The orange, like the other fruit flavors, I didn't like it all.
No, looking, yeah. Because orange is what they would put into like casseroles and like if you went to certain picnics.
Yeah, there's a salad that you make with Jell-O. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it's like Jell-O and cottage cheese or something.
That
and like walnuts.
That's not a salad.
There's something called I think it's ambrosia salad. I see that like
ambrosia. That's what they call it.
I see that like giant supermarket.
I feel like that's even a bigger Southern thing. Like people in the South are like, oh, ambrosia. And
it's like meringue or whipped cream and Jell-O, and you mix it together and add nuts.
Yeah, I don't want to eat that.
No.
It's funny too because so many things from the South are delicious, But like Ambrosia's, that's such a highfalutin name too, right? Ambrosia is the
It's
food
the
of the
nectar
gods.
of the gods.
Yeah. And it's like, how about some Jello and nuts? That's ambrosia.
I just imagine Beetlejuice offering that now.
Yeah.
Hey, Lydia, how about some Jello and nuts?
And that should have been an episode of the cartoon, yeah.
Yeah, it might still be. They're probably gonna make a new one now that the sequel's coming out.
They're making a sequel.
I meant to talk. I can premiere this on air. I was gonna talk to you about maybe figuring out if we can make a tie-in flavor.
Oh, a Beetlejuice tie-in.
Because we've been trying to perfect a Halloween flavor
Yeah.
for the last couple of years. We haven't quite hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
But maybe if we do something
I like that. I mean, a
like
Sunday
Beetlejuice
makes sense. I
themed,
mean,
yeah, Beetlejuice Sunday.
to go completely against everything I just said, using gummy worms in that might be awesome.
Oh.
Worms and dirt Sunday with ice cream, obviously.
Just got to figure out how to get the ice cream perfectly striped, black and white.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
And you scoop it, and it's.
I can hear the music in my head. Do, 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 do. Yeah.
And we have at least one employee that loves all that Tim Burton stuff.
Mhm.
So she'll definitely be into it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's so soon.
We'll have to do this tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. Today, we just made our first batch of pumpkin pie ice cream. Speaking of seasonal stuff, and it came out good. We found out, though, I didn't recall this, that Steve's not a fan of pumpkin pie. Like, no pumpkins. Yeah.
I don't even like carving pumpkins because in seventh grade we did a pumpkin map project. We had to paint a map of some country or like a globe or something on a pumpkin, and then the teacher left them in the back of the classroom, and we went away for like it was like Veterans Day break or something like that. And we come back and they all burst
Just
and
rotting.
melted and rotted pumpkin juice all over the floor.
Smelled rancid.
And it was an old school building, had old wood floors, so it like soaked into the wood. And especially when it got hot in the summer, you could smell the rotting pumpkin. And I sat in the back because my last name starts with a W, so I was in the back of the room most of the time.
No.
Ever since then, I can't look at a pumpkin without smelling that smell of rotten pumpkin.
How do you feel about the band Smashing Pumpkins?
They're smashed, so at least some of that rot can like escape through the air, can vaporize.
Today. Yeah.
And also, yeah, I mean, Billy Corgan's a pretty interesting singer.
Yeah. Cool.
He has a unique voice, and I guess that's all I know about Smashing Pumpkins.
So you would take listening to a Smashing Pumpkins song over eating any pumpkin
I would
product?
take listening to a Smashing Pumpkins song 10 times in a row over eating anything.
All right. There we go. But to the rest of you, though,
And I don't like anything 10 times in a row. Not even ice cream.
I've had a pumpkin-filled week. I made a pumpkin roll for my wife's birthday. We made 2 of them, and came out great.
Nice.
And then I also got a pumpkin pie from Costco the other night. Homemade whipped cream on top.
Oh, nice.
Super good. And not just, it wasn't from the canister. It was whipped. Yeah.
Was it the schlag you used to make?
It was, yeah, basically the Schlag recipe.
Nice.
Yeah, so Schlag is basically German, really thick whipped cream, and it's delicious. And the one place I've had it is Peter Luger Steakhouse in Brooklyn, which is also my favorite steakhouse in the world. It's delicious. And so you eat this giant steak. They have 4 things on the menu officially. It's steak for 1, steak for 2, steak for 3, steak for 4. So we went one time, I brought Steve and a bunch of friends up, and, we got a couple steak for 4s. And you eat. It's huge, right? They bring out this platter, and it's just dripping and steaming.
It's pre-sliced, thankfully.
Pre-sliced. You eat your fill, and so you got the meat sweats. You're feeling good, but bad. The best kind of feeling. And then they're like, well, do you want one of the famous hot fudge sundaes? And of course you say yes. But, like, your body's like, don't do it, man. Just don't. But we do it. And
It was delicious.
it's so thick. The hot fudge, I want to find out what they do with hot fudge, because it's really thick and good.
Yeah, and it was interesting, too, because after we went there, and I had heard about it so much, I noticed every movie and TV show that either goes there and films there and doesn't mention it because they didn't pay for promotional consideration, I guess, or has a parody or simulacrum of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, that's clearly a Peter Luger's like
Yeah.
restaurant they're going to in this movie. Like,
It's like Johnny Klaus. It's like,
yeah. Oh, it was just like the lighting and the seating and the way the waiters are dressed. It's like they're definitely going for the Peter Luger vibe without saying, it's tell me you're eating at Peter Luger's without saying you ate at Peter.
Yeah, and this is an old place. It's over 100 years old. The decor basically looks like it's trying to be vaguely German. And the waiters are all wearing formal attire, basically.
Yeah, formal attire, like
an apron.
Yeah, like well-fitting aprons.
And they're all like 80 years plus old. Like, I don't think there's a younger waiter in the
slick
house.
back hair.
Yeah, and those dudes must make bank. Like, you probably get that job and you're like, I'm never leaving it, because every check is like $1,000 some bucks, and you're getting 20% of that. They do good. Yeah. Pro tip, guys, if you want a good job, be a waiter at Peter Luger's. No problem.
You just got to be 80 years old.
Just got to be 80 years old.
Or you have to appear 80 years old, I guess.
Yeah, you could just Benjamin Button yourself, and it'd be great. Yeah. I just found out what that movie was about, and that's a weird movie. Yeah. Never saw it, but I saw a couple clips, and I was like, oh, okay.
Age backwards.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Actually not. The movie opens with an old man being born, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the premise. Like, the spoiler, it's not, yeah. But yeah, so the whipped cream, they call it Schlag, and it's super thick. They add this special German thickener, I found out. And it makes it, you're eating the whipped cream, like chomping it. And it's so good.
A special German thickener. Now I'm just thinking it's just like straight up butter or straight up like pork fat.
No, yeah, I think it's like a form of gelatin, actually, that they put into it.
Well, yeah, it's close to pork fat, I guess.
Yeah. But it fills you up like nothing else. Like, if you thought you were full, like, it finds the nooks and crannies and stuffs it down.
It's got to, because otherwise you can't digest all that delicious steak.
Yeah.
And then in our case, we drove 2.5 hours home.
Yes.
In a van.
Digested in a van.
It worked out.
Yeah.
So is there any kind of ice cream that you don't like?
That's a good question. I'm not a big, I used to as a kid, but not a big like sherbet sort of guy.
As far as I know, and I haven't done a lot of research on it, I should have, sorry, but I'm pretty sure those are different things.
Yeah,
so,
I think
so don't feel ashamed about not liking one or either, because there should be two different things culinarily.
Yeah. And I'm, not a big fan of nut flavors in general. Traditionally, like we already said, I'm not a big peanut butter guy. Don't go for those. But I used to think like I didn't like butter pecan until we started making it. Our butter pecan's delicious. Tooting my own horn. It's really good. It kills Steve, though. I can't make it while he's there. He's allergic. So it gets in the air because we bake. I bake the pecans.
Yeah, the first time I almost went anaphylactic shock and learned
You're like, I can't breathe so good.
Yeah. That was on 3 Benadryls with a face mask on.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm dying. I can't
like,
be in the
I
room.
will only do this on day Steve's. And it is kind of an intensive flavor. Like, you gotta take the nuts and you gotta grind them up and you gotta bake them. And then they're in the air. Yeah, they get in the air.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way.
Yeah, but it's good. So now I like butter pecan. Like, I got an appreciation for that.
So how much of it is the pecan? How much of it is the butter?
I mean,
because like one of my favorite flavors is what I used to get from that Chinese food store, the butter almond.
Yeah,
and they had thin sliced almonds, so it didn't like break my teeth. I didn't really love nuts in ice cream, but if they were thin enough that I can just kind of like chew them up with the ice cream as I chew a little bit, that's fine.
Yeah.
Or with the cone, more likely, I would like just dump on the cone with my tongue and then eat the cone with the nuts in it, and it was fine. Yeah, I love the butter part. Like if they were just butter ice cream,
just want butter ice cream,
like brown, like it's I guess it's like
brown sugar butter,
brown sugar butter, maybe a little bit of cinnamon. Like
we can make that.
It's delicious.
We could make that.
I feel bad about making it because some people love our butter pecan.
Yes,
and they ask about it all year, and I don't want to then make butter ice cream and they get upset that there's no pecans in it.
Yeah, I'll probably be making that next week for the first time. Anyone watching, it'll be there.
But ice cream I really don't like is I don't like any fruit. I didn't like any citrus fruit flavored ice cream,
which is uncommon.
It's uncommon, but it does happen. And every time I've tried it, like an orange creamsicle ice cream, it's always very icy and bad and weird. I also don't like chocolate water ice or sherbet.
Yeah, that sounds wrong. I never got that.
Yeah,
either.
I'm like, chocolate and water should not directly mix.
No, chocolate and water don't go. That's not two flavors you want really intermingling.
No.
Like watered down chocolate, we were saying earlier. Yeah,
because like I my mouth knows this is not pure chocolate, and it could be.
Right.
Or it's not milk chocolate, and it could be.
It's just a weird texture to have with chocolate as well. Because chocolate, you want that bite, that smoothness.
Yeah, like Vita started doing chocolate water ice. Apparently, it's one of their best-selling flavors. I've heard. I'm like, this tastes. it tastes like somebody took some chocolate sauce, mixed with water, and froze it, and said, "Here, eat this."
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Oh, and it reminds me of a lot of like the old person flavors, like
Rum raisin.
rum raisin. We've never made rum raisin. People will ask, but usually they are older.
Yeah. Well, but similar though, I realized I like the taste of the rum ice cream. I hated the raisins for the. I didn't like the texture in the ice cream, and I just don't like raisins that much in general. But I really didn't like the texture of the raisins in the ice cream. It was mushy and cold.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Like I don't think I've ever had raisins in ice cream, so it doesn't sound great. Now I like raisins as an accent in
Raisin Bran.
Yeah, room temperature things. Sure. I'd actually really like it in salads now. Craisins in salads. I got turned on the salads because I found out you can put fruit in them. So I can eat this.
Well, yeah, I remember if I remember correctly, you chew your ice cream somewhat when you eat
a good amount. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't chew my ice cream. That's why I tend to not like ice cream that has too many particulates that I have to chew it. I like a fruit flavor because I can kind of like wear it down with my tongue, or I can chew those a little bit after I eat the ice cream part.
Yeah.
But something I have to like chew like raisins. I'm like, that's too much work for a bite of ice cream. I don't want to have to chew a whole raisin.
Right. A whole raisin?
No, as soon as I said, I'm like, makes me sound lazy as crap.
Yeah, it does sound very lazy, but I like it. I mean, you got to be honest.
Certain foods are made to be chewed. Certain foods are made to be savored with your tongue in your mouth. Some foods are made to be swallowed, like drink. Damn.
I gotta chew this whole raisin.
Like you don't like. Do you chew soup, or do you eat chunky soups that you have to chew? Because to me, stews are different than soups. I want a soup that's drinkable. See, I want a stew that's chewable.
I like a soup where it's basically I eat it like a stew. That's why I like ramen. I mean, ramen. You are eating ramen until the end.
I mean, ramen's ramen.
It's like a different thing.
Yeah, it's. I see a bowl of ramen, my mouth is like, okay, you gotta chew this. And the rest of my body's like, yes, let's get ready to chew it. It's delicious. If I see a bowl of chili, it's like, oh, I gotta chew this. Yes, my body's ready to chew it. If I see a bowl of tomato soup and it has chunks of something in it, I'm like, I don't want to chew this. Tomato soup is for drinking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you got this basically ingrained mental switch, and this is for this, that is for that.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's not to get too far, not to rant too much.
Yeah.
This is what grinds my gears. Like a lot, especially canned soups, like chunky soup or Campbell's soup. Everything has been soaked and boiled so much that it's soft and mushy, like the noodles and the vegetables.
Yeah, it's very soft.
They don't promote chewing.
No.
You basically you can eat those soups without chewing to any appreciable amount.
So you're saying growing up with that made you accustomed to really soft soup?
I think that accustomed me to soup being soft.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, if I had stew, it had big old chunks of roast in it, roast beef, big old chunks of potato, chunks of carrot that I had to chew and break down. I was like, okay, that's what this is. So to me, it was just very codified from an early age, I guess.
Yeah. See, and my grandparents would make soup a good amount, and they would usually be leftovers. So it'd be whatever was left in the fridge, you throw that in the
pot and make a soup.
And for some reason, I have a vivid memory. They were Italian, but they made like cabbage and ham a fair amount, which I think of as like being an Irish sort of thing, like cabbage. And of course, the whole house smells like cabbage forever. That house probably still smells like cabbage 10 years ago or whatever. But I remember vividly they would make that, and then leftovers next day would be like, well, now it's the same thing, but in soup form. And it'd still be chewy because it's chunks of ham. And I was like, it's pretty good. It's maybe not worth smelling the house like cabbage, but it's pretty good.
That's a food you make outside.
Yeah, that's an outdoor food, ideally. Man, having a pot of like stock on outside, that's the life. That's luxury.
So I was just talking with my girlfriend yesterday about chili, because she was like, "Oh, when I make chili this winter, I should put corn in it." And I guess my face must have fallen very, very noticeably. He's like, "Oh, you don't think that's a good idea?" And I'm like, "Why don't you put corn in chili?" Like I've had that before, and every time I've hated it.
You see,
but it's weird because it's still a particulate.
Yeah,
chili's full of beans and meat, depending on how you make it. So you still have to chew it.
Yeah.
There's something about the corn texture.
I think it could add an interesting texture to it because it's got a pop to it.
I think what I want is minimal texture for my chili. Yeah. I want minimalist chili.
You want just a smooth slurry of your food.
If possible. Smooth slurry of spicy beef with some bean bits. If not like, as opposed to whole kidney beans that I have to stop and chew.
So we talked about the Hershey syrup, drinking that from the can. Have you ever drank refried beans from the can?
No, have you?
No.
Oh,
that would be going for the gold. I want to know someone who does.
I have chugged hot sauce from a bottle.
Did it kill you?
No.
Okay.
I mostly did it so I could dare my sister to do it.
Yeah, it's like,
I knew it would kill her.
It's definitely a dare sort of thing.
So
right?
I drink a little bit at a time to, give myself an immunity to it, build up an immunity to it. And then I was like, hey, let's chug it. And I chugged some, and she chugged some and almost died. And I was like, you got spicy food. I still feel bad about it. There were like 2 spice catastrophes I visited upon my sister, and I still feel bad about it to this day. I apologize for the other one. Just giving her some habanero powder when she was jumping rope one day. And I was like, here, try this.
While she was jumping rope?
I had some gum, and I was like, oh, this gum is like Big Red, but it's spicier. And I dipped the gum in habanero powder. I was like, have this. And she's jumping, and she's chewing it, and she starts crying while she's trying to count. And then she jumps out of the double dutch and runs away.
Still trying to count?
Yeah. And I've literally rolled on the floor laughing. And then I got in the house. She was still crying 5 minutes later, and I felt so bad.
See, that's some big brother energy, though, like right there. Yeah.
It made her to a stronger, less trusting person.
Yeah.
Less gullible person.
This is what we tell ourselves. Yeah. Made her a stronger, less gullible. Now you won't trust anyone.
Well, at least don't trust me when I say, hey, try this random thing, this random food.
She just put it in her mouth, huh?
I told her it was a really good gum, and she was like, okay.
She trusted you, and you betrayed that trust.
I betrayed that trust. That's why I apologized all these years later. I was like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I hope she blocked out of her memory. It wasn't just lying to me, but I was like, don't worry about it then, but I apologize.
Well, spicy things. Speaking of that, we have a spicy ice cream at the shop.
Mexican chocolate.
Mexican chocolate. It has cayenne pepper, and it's one that we've had since day one, and still very popular. Like, people are always surprised by, like, it's actually spicy, because it is. It gives you a kick. But I've always wondered, like, do we want to take one a step further? Do you want to go full habanero powder gum?
I don't want to do habanero. I don't want to do ghost pepper. We could add chocolate covered jalapenos to it. That is a thing.
Oh.
I don't know how texture-wise, unless we chop them up, I don't know how texture-wise it would work.
Well,
we do it as a topping for a sundae, though.
You put it throughout, though? Like, if you're just like, this is a fancy, it's a challenge ice cream, or is this, yeah.
Well, if we're going to put habanero in it, I think that's going to be a challenge ice cream. I don't think that's our standard recipe.
Right. Like, you make a small batch. You're like, here's the challenge ice cream, and you shake a rattle to let people know.
There have been people that told me, and our employees that, they're related to me, Mexican chocolate is not spicy enough for them.
I've said this because
I know you've said similar. I was surprised about it. I never thought of you as a spicy food person.
I'm not I mean, I like a lot of spicy foods, but like, it doesn't have to be.
I never saw you being a spice hound.
Yeah, I'm not usually, but I feel like for some reason, I don't know if it's me or the spice. It feels like our ice cream's gotten a little less kick. And I think
I think you're just getting used to it. Yeah.
I'm, 7 years older and just dying. So basically,
your body's becoming immune to it.
Yeah. So I'm putting the same amount in, and I'm like, I feel like it should be more. And you're like, no, Chris, it's hot. It's plenty hot. But you have other people saying they want more.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we do maybe not a challenge ice cream. Maybe we can do a sundae where we do it the concentration we do now, and we add. We can do a different pepper than cayenne as a topping of a sundae.
Yeah, it would have to be. I want a different taste. Something.
Ghost pepper, cinnamon sugar.
Ghost pepper
sprinkled on top.
It'd be maybe would this be like a Cinco de Mayo thing? Like add that, because I could see that being like on the fried ice cream. We do a fried ice cream for Cinco de Mayo. That is quite good. It's very simple, but people ask us about it all year. Like, when's that coming back? People want it all the time.
Yeah, we get Richard Nixon from Futurama asking about it all the time.
Aroo! Yeah, it's good though. And it's very easy to make. Here's the secret to fried ice cream. If you want to make like the dollar store version, which is what we do, you crumble up some cornflakes, and you fry them in a pan with cinnamon and butter, and get it crispy. Just roll the ice cream in that. Good. That's all you need. Actually, we discovered that pan frying things in butter.
It makes them delicious.
That's the secret to everything.
Yeah,
to everything.
There was one person that I told her that we toast cinnamon toast crunch cereal. We put in our cinnamon toast bunch ice cream.
Yeah,
And she rolled her eyes at me and walked out.
Really? Walked out without buying anything.
And her husband or boyfriend or partner was like, well, her loss. And he bought a cup of it and he ate it and he loved it.
Yeah.
And she was just outside mad that we toasted it. Actually, she rolled her eyes and said, of course you do. And walked out.
As derisively as possible.
Yeah.
I'm fine with this. See, I love, to be honest, guys, I also love it when people walk out the shop for like, because they're mad or they're just in a mood, any mood. If you walk out because you had a mood, it's really funny. Really funny.
I mean, they walked out, so we don't care if they hear us say that.
Yeah, they're not coming back.
Yeah, but it was just funny because in this case, like I suspect her reason for saying that is because it was a little too indulgent or rich for her blood.
Yeah,
and because some people have said that, and I'm like, our scoops are, there's too much ice cream in that scoop for this little kid, and I'm like, it's called Tubby Ice Cream.
It's Tubby Robot.
Tubby Robot Ice Cream. It's not called Skinny Robot Ice Cream.
This is also, you're eating ice cream in Philadelphia, made by Philadelphians. Like, it ain't health food. This is a confection.
Like I said, it's nutritious.
Delicious.
It's also not good for you in high doses.
It's a sometimes food. It's a sometimes food I eat every day, but it's a sometimes.
It should not be the base of your food pyramid.
No.
Or whatever it's taught. I don't know what they're called now.
the food inverted pyramid of success.
Food diagram.
Yeah, what are they? Do they still put grains on top?
No, they definitely.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Well, no, grains are at the bottom before, but
they were the base.
Yeah, they definitely rearranged that because
don't eat so much bread.
The bread heavy diet was. It's because of like 50s nutritional values.
Like big bread.
I don't even think it's 50. I think it's like post World War II. That they were like grain is the future. Bread is what you're gonna fill up on because that's cheap, and we can make the most of that with the land we have. And the other stuff, as you go up the pyramid, does get harder to make and/or source and/or ship.
Except for the very top, which is just like sugars, which is very easy and cheap to throw in.
Now.
So sugar, you think was more expensive?
Well, not even more. Antiquity, it definitely was. At that time, maybe not. But there weren't like sugar plantations in the middle of the United States like there were wheat farms because you couldn't grow sugar the same way there.
Right. You
got like a more
in a marshy area typically. Yeah.
So they were like, oh, we can grow and subsidize lots of wheat and some dairy and then some eggs. But then like oils and fats and sugars were like, that's not something we can make in bulk as like, this is American oil. American cooking oil or fruit oil.
So now I got to look at it like a new, because we were always told like, hey, bread's the base. You eat 7 to 8 servings of that. Every
we were
day.
always told it's very important to eat bread, and then vegetables and fruits, and then dairy. But I'm pretty sure it's because like the grain lobby was like, or the Department of Agriculture was like, eat more grain. We got too much grain. Eat it.
Yeah. Well, and later on you learn like you shouldn't do that, and it really spoke to me in Scott Pilgrim. Both the manga and the movie is when there's a scene where Scott's like, oh, I love bread. I wish I could eat bread for every meal. And Ramona's like, you'd get fat. And he just goes, bread makes you fat? And I felt the same way. I was like, oh my God, bread makes you fat. Bread is the base of the pyramid. The base.
The more bread you eat, the more fat you have, the less you have to eat to survive because you have fat stores.
Yeah. So nuclear winter, eat the bread.
I'm not saying that's not part of the rationale.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why the 50s had a revolution of freeze-dried foods and casseroles being pushed on like public consciousness. So they were like, we learned how to freeze-dry foods without killing them, like vegetables.
From what I understand, the 50s was just nothing but casseroles as far as the eye could see.
Green bean casserole was invented so they could sell freeze-dried onions, I'm pretty sure.
Freeze-dried
onions? I think that's official. Yeah, because whoever made those, I think it was Lipton. I think they're the ones that came up with the green bean salad. I read casserole in like a cookbook.
See, it's funny too, because onions are like a base of every meal now. And like you chop a fresh onion and it's easy and it's cheap.
Well, if you had freeze-dried little shriveled onions, you could just sprinkle on stuff. You don't cry.
Yeah.
You don't have to cut your hand trying to cut onions.
Yeah.
You don't have a stinky garbage smell.
We have yet to incorporate onions into an ice cream, which this is something we've actually discussed, the idea of savory ice creams. Now, we've not done this, and I don't know that we will, but Steve has been like, well, I've trying, there's a flavor specifically you want to do a savory version of.
So there's a place, Toriko's in Jersey City, which Chris introduced me to when he lived up there, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's a family-owned business. They've been open
Jersey
for a
City,
long
yeah.
time.
Look,
yeah.
if you're ever anywhere near New York City, Jersey City, Torrico, my favorite ice cream shop up there.
And they had a black sesame ice cream,
Oh yeah.
which I'm pretty sure was sweet. But I had the idea because sometimes you eat black sesame on a bagel with cream cheese. Sometimes it's eaten with lox. If you did a salmon ice cream with the black sesame like base with pieces of salmon.
Yeah.
And somebody at the shop, when I brought it up one time, a customer recommended candied salmon, which is apparently a thing.
So adding sugar to the sugar, because the ice cream's
Yeah.
already sugared.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be a savory ice cream much more so than it would be an ice cream that has meat in it. But the meat is like dried, candied, like caramelized, coated salmon.
Just trying to get I'm thinking of like a Jewish deli lox sort of situation.
That's kind of what I was thinking. And then as
Yeah.
a sundae, you serve it with a toasted bagel. With cinnamon sugar on the bagel.
Ice cream with cinnamon sugar. All right, now you're bringing me back. Cinnamon sugar on a bagel is delicious. You don't see that enough.
No,
Cinnamon sugar bagel?
I used to do that all the time when I was a kid.
Cinnamon toast was we did it with bread, but with the bagel it was even better.
Yeah.
Man, Sunday with that. Oh,
See, now it's sounding a little less
that one is
ludicrous,
sounding
right?
a little bit better. You're bringing me back around.
The problem is it's too close to a gonzo ice cream though.
Yeah, it is a bit gonzo.
Like we have to like the black sesame ice cream if that was a flavor we thought tasted good with our sundaes,
yeah.
and then do the candied salmon as a topping. I'm fine with doing it as a topping. It doesn't have to be incorporated into the ice cream.
No, now you got me thinking.
And then we can do it. It can be. It could be vegetarian, I guess. If you don't cook it, if you don't mix the salmon into the ice cream as a topping, they just leave off that salmon.
just leave off the salmon. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be the only thing that's ever been sold at the shop that isn't vegetarian if it had salmon. We've never sold meat through the shop. Now, we did make a special ice cream one time for Lucky's Last Chance, which was peanut butter, jelly, and bacon.
Bacon, yeah.
And we put legit bacon in that, and they sold it through Lucky's. We never sold it in our own shop. But it was weird. So this was during COVID. Shop wasn't open. So I was making it at the shop all alone. And the whole place smelled like bacon because I was putting it in the oven, crisping it up.
Were you putting like sugar on it, like caramelizing
No, this
it, or
was
was it just straight up bacon?
I was like, it doesn't need more because we're already adding peanut butter and jelly. But I was like, man, I'm actually really glad the shop's not open now because I don't know how I would sell ice cream in this bacon smelling place. Like it smelled like bacon for a solid week.
Yeah.
You know how it lingers like crab legs.
Bacon tastes so good. Hate the smell.
Well, you like the smell of it. Like I like the smell of it.
Well, in preparation of
sometimes.
eating.
Yeah.
If I'm sleeping and I wake up and there's a bacon smell, it depends. Because normally Ayana's not making it for me. She's making it for herself to take to work.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't get any other bacon. I don't want to smell it.
But in theory, if you were working outside the house in the morning and you came in and someone had made you bacon
That would be
and
great.
you smell that, you'd be like, oh.
Or made my own bacon. I'd be like, that smells. And then I would eat it and I'd be like, oh, I'm so full. I hate the smell of bacon.
So this is actually how we work. We actually have discussions like this, and this is the brainstorming process.
We don't usually record them.
yeah. Yeah, only half the time.
And so, what's the craziest ice cream flavor that you ever thought about making or wanted to make? Like personal, like that was selling in the shop, just like for your own personal consumption.
Easiest. See, like it isn't even that crazy because for flavors, I'm like a simple guy. You know that. I like basically taking really good ingredients and breaking them down to their essence. And so I still haven't gotten it yet, but the None More Black, named after a punk band, I wanted to make the darkest chocolate ice cream I could imagine.
Named after a bit from Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap.
Yeah. Right. But I wanted to call it None More Black and make it this really dark ice cream and just delicious and smooth. But every time I've tried to make it, it doesn't come out smooth enough.
Yeah, the last time you made it, it came out like a frozen chocolate bar, basically.
Yeah.
It was like 80% cacao or something.
It's not there yet. But it's one thing. It's like it's my white whale, my black whale. I want it to be really dark and really smooth.
And we don't want to put activated charcoal in it to cheat and make it dark.
No. And that also comes out. You don't want your insides to be blackened. Like this probably ain't great. I think they stopped doing that in general.
No.
No.
They're all bringing it. All the fast food places are bringing it back this year for Halloween. that I've been seeing so far. Like at least a few have.
So how about so was that your wackiest? The salmon was that? Or do you have a wackier ice cream you're thinking?
I know
about?
because I had a thought earlier that was probably my wackiest one that I would try to make.
Okay.
If I could figure out how to make it taste good. I guess that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
A minestrone ice cream.
See, I love minestrone, but it's not sweet.
That's the thing. I'm like, do I try to make it sweet? Or do I just go pure savory and just... So it'd be like a creamy minestrone.
Mm-hmm.
Like you either added some cream to the minestrone soup.
Yeah.
And you froze it. But yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, that would be very gross.
So I think just the essence of this, we would have to try chicken stock in the base. What would happen? Sweet chicken stock ice cream. Is that good? Is that a thing?
Or maybe go with a vegan minestrone. So you have vegetable broth.
Vegetable stock, sure.
With like the celery and the pintos.
Why are you going vegan with the milk, though?
So if we eat sweet, I guess people eat sweet chicken all the time. You have sweet salt, honey barbecued chicken, honey mustard dipped chicken.
Yeah.
We could make it work.
It would.
Does real minestrone have like lamb in it? Don't you put like lamb stock or something?
It's typically chicken. I mean, maybe in the old country, I have no idea. But like in America.
Okay. How about before I ever try to make that, I'll see if there's a minestrone gelato first.
Yeah.
Because if there is, then it might be hope.
It might be hope.
If there isn't, then I know I'm
just imagining like red
tilting at
beans
windmills
sticking out of it, and we did make red bean ice cream in the past.
I was gonna say we could make a minestrone-ish ice cream.
You know, the red bean ice cream we made for the Korean Jamaican place, Spicy Belly,
rest in peace.
Delicious. Using that as a base.
Yeah, use the red bean ice cream.
Yeah.
Instead of celery, you use like some kind of like salt.
Juju beans,
gummy worms, like green gummy bears, or the slices, the lime slice candy. It's covered in powdered sugar. So you slice it in this little thin slices.
Each batch takes 10 years.
That's what we have employees for.
Yeah.
And then we can finish it off with carrots if you want. Carrots are sweet, but not too sweet to overpower the rest of the ice cream. Candied carrots. Candied carrots, candied celery, red bean ice cream.
Well, now that we turned off everyone, it's probably a good place to start to wrap up, probably.
Yeah, I just have 2 last questions.
Yeah.
One, we should talk about our favorite ice creams then. We just talked about the one we were least like.
Yeah.
And the weirdest one we could think of.
Okay.
I would like to start first.
Yeah.
But also see if our producer Dylan wants to chime in.
I don't think he's on mic.
Half baked.
All right, so we just got from Dylan. He liked a Ben & Jerry's half baked, which is excellent because that's part cookie dough, part chocolate fudge brownie, I believe.
Yeah.
Those are 2 of the best.
My favorite Ben & Jerry's was always the fish food. Fish food is what I got all the time.
Chunks of stuff. You don't like chunks of stuff.
If I'm prepared for chunks of stuff, I know it has little chocolate fish fruit with caramel in it.
Big chocolate fish. They're chunky.
Not that big. They're like that's big.
Man, when I think of fish food, I think of like chunks. But okay, good.
I mean, regardless though, my body was ready.
Yeah.
To quote Reggie Feels on Me.
Yeah.
My body was ready for chunks in this ice cream.
Yeah.
Like the Edie's chocolate brownie chunk used to be my favorite until I ate 1.5 gallon in one. It's not even sitting. I walked to the supermarket, bought it, ate it on the way home. It was almost empty by the time I got home, and then I didn't want to eat ice cream again for like a year after that because I got sick.
That's amazing. For me, boring, perennially mint chocolate chip is my favorite. Green mint chocolate chip specifically, and I really like ours. Obviously, that was one flavor I wanted to make sure that we got right because I eat it a lot. But to me, like it goes so well with chocolate. Like I love hot fudge on that. M&Ms for some extra crunch. I think that's an unsung topping. Like M&Ms.
Yeah, M&Ms, and we use mini M&Ms at the shop now because they're more crunchable and they don't break your teeth.
Yeah, I prefer the bigger ones to be honest. But you give the public what they want.
You prefer the big ones. I prefer teeth.
Yeah.
Teeth 2024.
But yeah, mint chocolate chip. If I had to go with just one, there's so many good ice creams. Yeah, and that's what keeps the job interesting. Like there's so much good stuff to just explore. Yeah. But yeah, that's a good. And to wrap it up, eat more ice cream.
We gotta get Terry to eat more ice cream. I'm pretty sure he's on like a keto diet, or he just like has like he has like a nutritionist or something. That's how he stays so like svelte.
That's what we got to just get in with his girlfriend.
Yeah,
and be like, hey, here's some ice cream.
Here's some free ice cream in the house.
Yeah.
Don't tell Terry about it. And then Terry will be like, what ice cream are you eating without me? It's like, oh, some Tubby Robot. And then he'll eat it. And then he'll become one of us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you so much, Dylan, for making this happen. And yeah.
Thank you for joining us, everybody, here at Tubby Talk at YUNKJunk Studios. Bon appetit. But imagine that was an ice cream pun.
Yeah.
YUNKJunk!